Hi, this is Kim White with the My Sexy Business Team. We're back at the Hope to Hope conference, and what a ride it has been. I'm here with my co-host,
Coni Meyers with Kick Butt Leadership.
She has been a blessing to me in this conference. I'm telling you, there's so many things behind the scenes that people don't realize that a conference takes for you to get done. And so I am grateful that you are here with me yet again.
Thank you. Thank you. I wouldn't want you doing it without me, so
yeah,
I'll show up no matter what.
Well, and I will tell you, our next guest is someone that I feel like I've known forever, and it hasn't really been as long as what I think it has. But she is incredible. She's not only a business owner, but she's got some great insight into like just entrepreneurship in itself. She has figured out so many things and put together processes and systems like for her own self. She's got extremely successful and I can't think of the word right now. It's like a marketing and advertising product company. She's got online business. She is just an incredible. She's a wife and a mama, and she's beautiful. She's brilliant. What else can we say? Amazing.
I think you pretty much covered it.
But welcome, Nicole Thompson, to the Hope to Hope conference.
Hi, Kim. Hi, Coni. Thank you so much for having me.
I am really excited that you have brought us a story today to tell us of something that you've been through, that you've come out the other side. But before you say anything, I want to make a point about you that I just appreciate. You have a heart to serve, which is why the first time I saw you, even on live, I was like drawn to you because you are good to help other people with things you've struggled with. And, you know, being starting an online business and doing it successfully, and then going through some of the life things that you went through, and then even pivoting and adding a whole, really a whole nother online business to your repertoire. You have so much wisdom that you have struggled through, and your learning curve you share with other people, other entrepreneurs, to help them. And right now, before I forget, you have actually a focus freebie to help people focus, because that is one of the hardest things in being an entrepreneur to do. Is we want to do everything and we get off track. I'm the worst as far as
I don't know. I think you might be tied here.
If it's shiny or glittery or princessy in any way, I'm like tempted away. I have to like guard my space, because I really I go down rabbit trails, and you have a great thing that you have put together and you've shared, and you give it away. That tells me how generous you are.
Yeah, it's a nice way to just remind people that they need to just put on their blinders and focus on what you need to do day to day, that it doesn't have to be overwhelming and make you crazy. It's 5 tips on how you can just hone in your focus and crush the overwhelm. And it's a little 8-page PDF. I tried to make it pretty.
Well, and at the end, we'll make sure that we put a link in for you so that they can like sign up for it. But I'm just telling you up front that that's one of my things, that I know you're generous and you're a giver, because you want to give everything that you've struggled with to other people. And this entire conference is basically that. It is it is speakers who have a heart to be good to other people and to help other people that are in spots that are difficult, to know that they can come out the other side. So I appreciate you, because you're willing to share transparently, and you're willing to serve and give, and I just love it. Would you like to share something that like is on your heart about helping people in whatever spot it is? You can tell us how they can get past the overwhelming and a hopelessness. I mean, it doesn't even matter whether it's personal or business. There's an overwhelm that comes with feeling hopeless.
Yeah. When I was 16, I met a guy that my parents didn't approve of. And being 16 and rebellious, I decided my parents were wrong and I was right, and I was going to do what I wanted to do anyway. So at 16 years old, I ran away from home. I dropped out of high school and I followed the loser. I ran away from a loving home. It wasn't like there was any abuse. There wasn't any want for anything. I was treated like a princess at home, but I was a spoiled little brat and I didn't get my way, so I went after the loser. In dropping out of high school, I disconnected with a lot of my friends. Loser's no longer in the picture, by the way. But it pretty much trampled all over my last couple of years of high school, and probably the most fundamental ones. I missed walking across the stage to get my diploma with my class. Now I did graduate. I did get my high school diploma. I did it online, and I have the actual paper and everything, and I'm very proud to say I completed it at the same time I would have graduated normally. But it's actually put a few stumbling blocks in my path in not having that right out of school high school diploma. I kind of became a little bit of a recluse where I felt ashamed for not being a part of the high school group anymore. And I really discovered who my true friends were at that point too. The ones who really stuck by me when everything smoothed out. I was very, very fortunate because my parents were very accepting. They were very happy to have me home again. And we can talk about that now and have it not be a big deal and talk about it lovingly. And I'm so grateful to them for that, because they've really given me that welcome space, that sense of home that I would never, ever have to question. But I've never really let the fact that I didn't graduate with my class or that I'm considered a high school dropout stand in my way, because there's no way that I was not smart enough to take the reins and do something that I wanted to do. So I've worked for a lot of different companies. I've done a lot of different things because I had a whole path in mind when I was in school. I was going to be an orthodontist. And not going to college or anything after high school, I didn't really get the opportunity to go down that path. So once again, I took an online course and became a certified dental assistant. Then when my oldest son got his braces, they were looking for an assistant orthodontist there, so I applied and then I did that. So it kind of goes to show that even though I didn't get to become the orthodontist, the path that I thought I was going to be on, that I still got to get a taste of what that business would have been like. And you don't necessarily, I'm not discouraging anyone from going to college, but you don't necessarily have to do that to make something of yourself, to be someone.
Yes. And,
I worked as a graphic designer at a print company, and I've done that for going on 30 years now. And I've integrated a lot of that into my promotional products business that I now run for myself. I had a failed freelance business for graphic design. You have to take those failures and learn from them and use them as stepping stones to move on to the next thing and say, okay, well, that didn't work, but the next thing might. And thankfully, the next thing has worked so far. And I really have found a love of helping new entrepreneurs, people who are in the position that I was in before starting my own online company. I want to help them to not have to fall down the pitfalls of all the things that I didn't know when I started, all the things that I had to learn from scratch. And if I can help just one person to do that without pulling their hair out or feeling like they're completely alone, then I've done my job.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, and I will say, I want to make this like point is you did not fail at the graphic design freelancing because you weren't a great graphic designer, because you've designed several things for me, including something like, it's a surprise, so we can't talk about it yet out loud, but you designed something for me just last week that is going to bless a lot of people. And it already has blessed me because it's, our business. It's
Right.
and for you, it was very simple. For me, it was very big. So I want to point that out, that you are an incredible graphic designer. It
Thank
had
you.
nothing to do with you weren't talented. You had to find a niche that worked for you. But it wasn't that you didn't have a talent, because I think a lot of people, when something fails, they stop trying to do what they love because they think they're not good enough, or they think that they are not talented enough or whatever. And that definitely was not the case with you.
I think, a lot of times, really what it is a course correction. So you weren't going exactly the path you were supposed to be going.
Mhm.
So something got put in the way so that it could redirect you to the direction you were supposed to be going.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, at the time, I kind of saw it as a failure because I ended up having to go work in a typical job, and I felt like I kind of gave up on it. But I knew it wasn't the graphic design that was the problem when that happened. It was that I just couldn't find the customers. And I just didn't have that knowledge yet. I didn't have the know-how. And that's kind of one of the things that I really like to try to encourage other people how to do, is to find customers so they don't have to give up on something that they're trying to build.
Well, and you are a great example of, even we did some stuff talking about your rebranding.
Mm-hmm.
That you are on a path of having one business that does one thing, and you've actually created another business that does another thing, and they're like parallel as far as you are able to market both at the same time, but yet you're impacting different people in each of those businesses.
Mm-hmm. Completely. Because one is helping businesses to grow in the marketing sense, and the other is helping businesses to grow in the actual growing of the business sense. And it's just, I think where I've really found that passion is to be able to help people to not make the mistakes that I had to make. That's huge for me. I didn't even realize how much I loved doing that until I started to do it.
Yes. And I have to tell on you a little bit because I can't help it. But I love it because everything you do is on a ginormous scale. You don't do anything slowly, and you don't do anything halfway. I will tell you that one of the qualities I adore about you is, if you understand something, I mean, it's not 5 minutes and you're implementing it.
Mm-hmm.
You are a great candidate for big success.
I hope so.
Well, I'm telling you, you can look back at this and laugh later about it, because that's one of the biggest qualifiers that I've ever met of someone who is actually going to be really big business, is that they're quick implementers. Even if it implements and it's not the right thing and they have to undo it and implement something else,
Mm-hmm.
still that implementation, that being courageous is what I think of it as, enough to implement something and try it, and not, sit back and spend 6 months. Well, maybe. If you understand what it is, I'm telling you, girl, you have amazed me at, we'd have a conversation and then I would see you actually doing that thing, and I'm thinking that just tells a lot about you.
Well, I've never been one to sit back on my laurels and wait for things to happen because I have found that that does not work.
Not very well, no.
No.
Because manifesting only works if you take some action after you've manifested. And I love all that woo-woo stuff. I love sitting with my candle and meditating and really just speaking to source energy. I love that. But you can't just sit back and hope. You have to actually take the action steps and move in a direction that's hopefully going to move you forward. And if that direction's the wrong step, take another step. Try a different direction.
Yeah, I always say start with where you are with what you have right now.
Yep. And don't be afraid to take that next step, no matter what it is. Yeah. You just got to trust that it's like, is it James Wedmore that says, jump and the net will appear? Someone says it. I've heard him say it. Yeah, leap and the net will appear. I absolutely love that saying because you have to believe in yourself enough to trust that you can take that leap and know that you're going to be okay. You might fall down. You might scuff your knees. You pick yourself up. You brush yourself off and you go, all right, I'm all right. I got this. Let's go.
Well, I think you're a great example of doing that. Like you demonstrate it for us often.
Are you saying I fall on my face a lot?
I'm saying you are not afraid to jump.
No, that I'm not. I figure what's the worst that can happen? I mean, I've kind of got probably a rosy look on things anyway. I always tend to look at the bright side, even in bad situations. So I think I tend to annoy my husband with that sometimes. But but if you have a positive outlook, no matter if it's a situation that you're really excited about or if it's a situation that you don't necessarily want to be in, if you've got a good attitude about it, you're going to get through. Nothing's forever. Nothing is permanent. And you're either going to come out smiling on the other side or you're going to come out smarter for having gone through it. Smarter, braver, stronger for having gone through it.
That's good.
That's really good stuff.
Yeah.
I like that stuff.
Well, and if anyone's listening today and they are struggling with, I think you've hit on two major things, actually. One is feeling qualified because of past decisions. Mm-hmm. You are exactly right about, it might not have been the choice that you intended, mm-hmm. but you are still in the place that you needed to be.
Yep.
And so if you have something in your life and you're listening to this and, you're struggling with a decision that you made that you feel like is a poor decision, or you have some consequence, that you're dealing with. I just want to point out with Nicole and us, we've all made bad decisions, or we've all made decisions that were not the best for us, and we've all done it. You did it at 16. I still sometimes doing it at 51.
Oh, yeah. So, every day there's something that I go, maybe I should have done that different.
So it's not like, this is an age thing that you only can get past the things when you're a teenager. You can get past the things right now, whatever.
It doesn't matter your age. Yeah.
And so I think that it's very important to understand, especially for the context of this conference, that whatever your past is, it doesn't have to stop you. Whatever your choices were, good, bad, or indifferent, it doesn't have to stop you. And if you've started a business, or even if you're working for someone else and you need to understand how to do something better, Nicole is a great example of, she doesn't know something and then the next thing I know, she's teaching about it. Because she's not scared to try. And I think you are courageous in that as well, that you lead us by example, because you jump off and then figure out how it's going to work. And
figure out how to get those wings.
Exactly. But I do like that, that you are willing to try and you're willing to go and do things that are out of the box. And, I appreciate that about you, and I want you to know that. But I also want anyone listening to know that if you've done something scary, keep going. Like, the only way you really fail is if you quit.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Amen.
Absolutely.
You know, so if you're listening and you are, you know, you are discouraged today while you're listening to this, whether it be the day we're recording it or 10 years from now, just know that whatever it is, you can get through that. You can get through like the qualifications feeling less than. You can get through the business stuff that seems so messy and so big when you start out. You can get past all of that. And Nicole is like a living example of that.
Yeah, one of the things that I have struggled the most with is my self-confidence. I am a scaredy cat as big as the day is long. And what I have found is I make the most progress with anything that I do if I just swallow that fear and go into the crowd that I don't want to go into, speak at the conference that I'm nervous about speaking at, and just put that out there, because I go back to how bad can it be? What is the worst thing that's going to happen? I'm not going to die. I'm just going to go out there and put my stuff out and see what happens, see what sticks.
And you know, that's another funny that you just said, you didn't die from it. You know, I laugh because I always tell everybody, even like we have things that we inflict on ourselves and we have things that are inflicted on us. But if you're still breathing, you have 100% survival rate.
Yep.
Like there's not a you know, lesser number, because if you're still here, you still have opportunity to do whatever to fix or repair or change or learn or whatever it is that you need to do. And to me, that's really, that's actually pretty sexy, because there's no reason to give up when you know you can do something different.
If you haven't succeeded at something that you've tried, that doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that you found out another way that you can't do that one thing, and you've been given another chance to try again. There's no reason to quit.
Absolutely.
No reason whatsoever.
Well said, my friend.
That's one of the things I love when Thomas Edison, you know, the quote that he was asked after trying to invent the light bulb 10,000 times, why he kept going. And he says, I didn't, or why he, after failing 10,000 times, he says, I didn't fail. I just found 10,000 ways it didn't work.
Yep. And that's exactly what I was thinking about when I said that. I love that quote.
I do too. It's one of my favorites.
Yep.
Well, Cheryl and Christy are here with us. Or at least that's the ones I can see.
Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Christy.
We have a lot in common, though, as far as, you know, being on this adventure called life and trying to figure our way out through it. And I appreciate you coming on today and helping with your encouragement, your inspiration, and your story, because it is a relationship thing that requires when we need hope. Like it comes from relationships with one another, and it comes from hearing someone else made it, that we, you know, gather that hope up that we can too.
Yeah. It's, if I've helped one person to be brave enough to try to start their own business, or to just go, you know, I screwed up, I made a mistake, but I'm still alive, I'm still breathing, I can get up tomorrow and I can do this, then I've done what I've come here to do.
And thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
I'm always so excited to talk to you, and we are like at the end of time, but I'm so grateful that you came on the Hope to Hope conference and that you participated, because we all need to be encouraged, you know, often. And that's what this whole conference is about, is just helping people know that there's stuff out there we go through and we can make it.
We sure can. Thank you both for having me. I really appreciate being asked on.
You're so welcome.
Well, I'm Coni Meyers with Kick Butt Leadership.
And I'm Kim White with the My Sexy Business team. Thank you for being at the Hope to Hope conference. Our next session will start at 1:30 Central Standard Time, and we will be back. Thank you, guys.